In this video, let's do a tour of the studio. This is the kids section, but this is actually a special section before we get to the tech aspect. I think it's important to know where you came from. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. And this is a little bit of that. Actually, this is the wall of heart. Everything from Notre Dame to one of the last text conversations my mentor had with me before his passing in 2020. Kentucky art, all the way to some things that I am proud of and those I love. That's going to be over here in the kids section. I think it's really cool because it's celebratory, and the youth, kids, when they come over here play with chases on the case, they need to be excited and happy. This is the little hangout sitting area. Big old TV that the kids can play games on, watch a movie on. We got a projector when the TV is being used over in the studio side of things. Projects on the wall. Apple TV is set up there. I've got my funeral director and embalmer licenses. This is an awesome piece I'm really proud of. All of our alcohol that I don't drink is down there. Gotta have a picture of the mom on the bar. And then now we're into, this is the studio section. I got a couple of different setups I want to go over and show you all. This is more of your formal seated podcast or interview section area. You're going to notice the lights behind the chairs. You'll also notice the wall. That, my friends, is an oopsie. Okay? Disregard. We're working on it. It continues to mess up. But this is an area where we can sit down and have a face-to-face casual chat. You're also going to notice right here I have two blue mic stands or podcast stands. I will link in the description for you. This is an affordable setup. SM7s are arguably the best microphone. They sound so amazing for podcasts specifically. Even my vocals, when I'm recording my vocals singing, I will sometimes go to the SM7. But this blue podcast stand, it's an affordable option to get you started. I think it's important to obviously just start first and foremost. But if you are on a budget, right? Because obviously you don't want to jump all in. If you can help it to save some monies, then you're going to go that route. I always pronounce it wrong. I think it's like an Avatone. I was told that Taylor Swift, when she recorded her album Red, but not Taylor's version, she recorded it on the Avatone. You'll notice right here, the entire studio is treated all along the walls, and these are specifically designed for this space. Nashville Acoustics did these really incredible customer service. You take a picture of your space, you send it to them, and they send you a 3D rendering of, hey, these should go here. You're going to notice they're all treated along the walls as well. Definitely give those guys a call if you are in the market for upgrading your sound in your space. You'll notice we have Wise lights going all across the trim. I like purples nobility. These are road cases. These road cases, of course, travel whenever I go and I'll play a show. On the right here is for my laptops. On the left here is for my track rig. My track rig is already plug and play. It's all set up to go. This is the ultimate stand. You're able to just roll it all across the place and space, and it's good for moving it out of the way or moving it where you want to move it. I think cleanliness is next to godliness. You're going to notice we do a really good job, or try to anyway, of cord management. Very inexpensive way to do that. I'll link that as well. This is the desk where I'll sometimes edit video, or I'll work on editing some audio. I'll sit here when I need to just change the scenery. Basically, I have 4 Macs in this studio. This computer will handle everything from clerical to editing audio, editing video. And if you are starting out, you can't go wrong with an iMac. Again, I'll link that below. Also here I have a Stream Deck. You're able to personalize this. Each button can do a different thing. You simply just program it. It's really simple to do. It's very helpful if you're wanting to toggle between programs or softwares or whatever your workflow is. The Stream Deck can accommodate. I have an Apogee Duet. This is what I travel with if I'm ever doing a podcast out of the studio. I'll take this Apogee and then these two SM7s and I load them. These are the Wise lights that are around the entire trim. I love Wise. They're a pretty cool little company. They have an awesome app to go with this. Not only that, but security for your house, for the studio. I have cameras in here as well. I'll link that in the description. Next on the beautiful beam footage we have, you'll notice here I have my Sennheiser receivers and transmitters. This is for my inner monitor and wireless microphone for my track rig, for my road case. I rehearse down here as well in the studio. Here is my rig. This is what I travel with to play a show. You're gonna notice it's a very clean and simple rig. A friend of mine built this for me. My wireless mics are here. Then I have my in-ear packs are gonna be located here. Has our lovely names on them. Pretty simple setup, very clean setup. You've got a use side, you've got a charge side. That means that when it's time to charge, you just charge back here. Easy peasy. Really cool sign here. Change the colors if I want to. And then you're gonna notice back here, of course, the lights. These lights right here are Godox. I'll link those as well. Pretty awesome how you're able to, via an app, change the colors for the lights. And then I have these really awesome 3D panels that go around the entire walls. And you're gonna say, Nathan, well, double-sided Gorilla Tape. Yeah, I know that doesn't work. Or screw them in and use a hammer drill. Yeah, I can do that, but we've done it all. We're working on it. Zip it. Now we're getting into some of the tech stuff. The Apollo Twin interface is incredible because it has all of these built-in sounds and features within the Apollo Twin that you're able to use via a console, and you can bring it into your DAW, and they sound incredible. I am a huge fan of that. If you're going to start here. I would invest in something like an Apollo Twin. And then you have an Apollo 8, which has more. I'll show you. This is an Apollo 8 right here. They're both connected, and they go to a Mac Mini built in to my rack. Backup power, hard drive backup. This is for the Avatone. It runs here. All runs here in the interface. Interface runs in the computer. My rack, it looks really messy from the back, but it's not. It's just the cords from all the other stuff. It is cord management. This is the podcast area. This is where I'll record the podcast itself. I'll do some vocals. I'll do voiceovers here. You're going to notice an A7 of a Sony A7. I really enjoy this mirrorless camera. I went from a Canon 7D, and then I went to a Blackmagic. It was way too much of a camera for me, so then I downgraded to this Sony A7. It does exactly what I need it to do, and I'm very happy with it. And then you'll notice here, this setup is a little different from the one I showed you with the informal 2 chairs set up. You'll notice this is the podcast area that you probably would picture in your brain. You have the camera, then you have this formal desk type setup. These are Ultima stands. These are a major step up from the blue, which are your entry level. I'll link these in the description. I have 4 SM7B microphones. I have the Avatone. Why can't I say that word? The Avatone microphone. A lot of studios, a lot of producers and artists, they'll have a ton of mics and options for, to which I say kudos. The great thing about this is you can't go wrong with an SM7. You can't go wrong with an Avatone. And also the interface I was just talking about, the Universal Audio Apollo Twin or Apollo 8. There's so many different plugins available that make my voice sound like butter. So I personally have invested in that over the microphones. I love these chairs. These chairs are on Amazon. I'll link that as well. I have 4 total, not expensive. And they look pretty good too. These get voted year in and year out as the best studio headphones. So these are Sony Dynamic Studio headphones. I have 4 pair of these. I'll link that as well. One of my favorite things in the studio. If I can get this. What's that, Nathan? It's like a coat hanger for your headphones. So you don't have to put your headphones on the podcast desk, and you can keep the space clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. That is correct. Have a Blackmagic ATEM Mini. This is a switcher for the studio. I have 4 cameras that are set up, 1 currently, but I am able to switch between 4 different cameras during a podcast. I find it to be a little overkill for me right now with the simple setup. I'm a plug and play guy. I've got a ton of content that I'm always going and creating any given moment for all of my platforms, to which I say, be sure to subscribe here. Be sure to click the bell to be notified when I release content like this. And find me on all the other socials, which I'll link below. But as a content creator, I'm constantly creating. Because of that, I got to be able to, boom, get it done. Not because I'm rushing to get it done, but because I need to just be effective. These are great video maker GVM, affordable option. You need lights, you need lighting so that you can make your production look as good as it possibly can with whatever you're working with. If you're waiting for it to be perfect, then you're never going to release it. So I believe it's important to just be proud of what you create. Good is good enough, Gary Vee says, and get it out there. There's no reason to not. Otherwise, it's just an excuse at that point. That being said, GVM have two, I guess you would call them softbox lights. I'm not a big lighting guy. I don't know a ton about it, but I do know that you have the side that you shoot on is the side that's the shadowed side, and you're lighting the opposite side. You have a hair light and have a couple of different GVM options. I'm not showing them, obviously. And then I will show you my favorite ever thing. My cheap friend, my cheap date that makes everyone look absolutely beautiful. It's a ring light. This thing costs nothing. I will link it in the description. But if you are doing content and you're creating it, get your nice little ring light. It makes you look delicious. True story. Here's the Ultima OC White mic stand. The cool thing about it is you're able to maneuver it out of the way, get it set up for the podcast. There we go. I have two pair of 64 audio inner monitors. These are my smaller backups, if you will. These are 4-driver is what they are. I like them. They're personalized with a gold color. This is if my primary pair went out, which these are a 12-driver. Basically, it means that they sound really good. For all of you people who aren't big nerds when it comes to the tech side of, like me. But this is my space and place where I'm constantly spending my time working, creating, refining. But I've been spending more time learning the DAW, learning why and how and what things are. And that is what I find to be important. I think it's important to know how to do everything. Not that you have to be exceptional at it, but you're the one that is in charge, right? If you are the brand, if you are the artist, you can't rely on everybody else to do everything. And for a long time, I have to confess that I did that. And it's not a good thing or a bad thing or right or wrong. However, for me, it was something that I needed to do, which is go all in and figure out why things are this way with the way in which I operate. And so that's why I dive in. I use Logic for all of my vocal tracking for my songs. And then I will use a program and platform called Descript for all of my podcasts. Now, why Descript? Descript is a plug and play feature. You heard me earlier talking about how I do content for so many different socials. I'm constantly churning it out. So I need to be effective. Descript is that for me. I can literally start recording this podcast episode, for instance. Record it. After I'm done, I hit stop. Takes just a moment, and the entire recording is captured in the computer already, video, and the audio is transcribed. It's transcription-based editing. You're gonna see all the ums, the breaks. You're able to, with one click, remove any filler words or any breaks. You don't want to sound like an idiot going, so it does all that for you. And then you can go and simply go back through the transcript. You can even fix words that you mispronounce. Nate Bargatze talked about how the Civil War, he calls it the Silver War. You can take silver, you can delete it and type Sybil. It learns your voice, and AI, because it's magic, makes the word Sybil come right out and you sound like you, and it wasn't you. And I will link that as well in the description. Each and every one of my podcasts are shot and captured in and edited in Descript for shows. I run a track rig and another rig by Neat Audio. It's called a redundancy rig. Basically, you have two laptops simultaneously linked playing my show via tracks. If any moment track A running on the main computer goes, then it clicks instantaneously to the redundant rig, and there's not a blip on the radar. It's set up a lot like Post Malone. He has 6 or something. It's insane. I figured a redundant rig 1 would be sufficient with 2 computers. That's what I run. Why did I not talk about the sound? Nathan Danzler of the Hit Lab, he has mastered a ton of my music and a ton that you have heard that you have Maren Morris to One Direction, a lot of others. And he said, hey, get these speakers. These are affordable. These are the ones you should get because they sound really good. To which, that's what you should get. They're about $800 on Amazon. I will link that as well. Has a lot of really cool feel about it. This is where you can find me in the event of an apocalypse. I like creating so much. I think if I'm not creating, I don't feel alive. And this is a special place to me. It's mine. So if you're starting out, you want a space that's efficient. You want a space that makes you feel comfortable and an effective place and space. I'll link everything that I have in the description. This is a very quick rundown of my studio. I still need to name it. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when we release content like this. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you, and I'll see you at the next video. Oh yeah.